Hey guys, Shirley here. Today we're going to be solo clearing Stormwind with 5 masks on my Arms Warrior. This video was actually recorded last week and is a week late. I wanted to start off by getting that out of the way. Sorry this is late with the craziness going on in the world right now. There's been a lot on my plate IRL these last couple of weeks, and then Doom Eternal came out this weekend, and frankly, that just kind of sucked up all my time. So, here we are. Better late than never. I'm sure that some of you wanted to still see, you know, at least the perspective of this, especially if you're still gearing up your Arms Warrior, how to get through Stormwind, because it's definitely the harder of the two horrific visions here. A little bit different on today's format. Instead of rambling for 20 minutes straight, or however long this is going to be, I'm going to kind of bop in and out whenever it's relevant, I suppose, to anything that crosses my mind going through this. But to get things started off, gear, talents, etc., I'm using all the standard single target stuff for arms. Once again, it's pretty much the same as Orgrimmar, if you've seen that video, except we're going to be using Purification Protocol, and I'm using Cleave in this one as well, and that goes into my corruptions that I'm running. Currently, I was using 1 Twilight Devastation and 1 Mastery proc, whatever that one's called, Hone Mine, I want to say. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and grab everything out of that first district, group it up behind that line of sight in the tunnel there to try and nuke all of it down as fast as possible before we move into this next area. I didn't actually mean to dismount here. I got dazed off my mount. I wanted to grab this whole courtyard if I could and just burn it all down with the big dwarf guy. Big dwarf. That was a oxymoron, but yeah. Anyway, going back to the gear and stuff, I'm using the 2% heal food you get in Visions for this. Whatever that one's called. Yeah. I can't even think of what it's called off the top of my head. It's pretty straightforward from here. The only real mask you got to worry about in Stormwind, for the most part, is the one that you take double sanity loss from all these, like, ability hits. Not just auto attacks, but the actual things that are casted and, you know, hit the ground or whatever. So you really got to be dodging things a lot more than you have to worry about in Orgrimmar. But that's the only thing that's really that bad, like just clearing out all the trash here. I did want to point out, when it comes to corruptions as well, that, I forgot that bomb behind me there, that I've got a couple of Mastery proc ones now, and I would probably use that over Twilight Devastation in future clears of Stormwind, or even Orgrimmar, just because it's a little bit less corruption than TD. So you're not getting the thing from beyond spawning all the time, just to make these things, you know, a lot easier as you're just farming up all the corruption gear now that everything has a guaranteed run. Plus, it's worth it to run 5 masks just over and over again for the corrupted mementos, so you can get sockets on all your stuff, which gets really tedious after a while, I gotta admit, running 5 masks over and over again. It just takes so long. But anyway, yeah, I would like to run just the Mastery proc ones with Cleave, I think, for future reference, just because the Mastery is really good. Slight tangent here, that I've been trying that a little bit in Mythic Plus as well, instead of TD, and it's not as spiky. You won't get, like, insane burst off a, you know, massive Twilight Devastation crit on a pack or whatever. But overall, throughout a dungeon, it's super consistent to have the couple Mastery procs and like a passive haste corruption that just gives you even more dot damage. Really like it. It's consistent. But going back to this, the Dwarven district, it's pretty easy. Not much to worry about in there. This district, Old Town here, this one's got a few tricky things. This elite right here, this woman, I probably should have pulled her and then just immediately ran around the other corner and grabbed that next pack with her instead of trying to single target her down here. But for whatever reason, this is where I was at the time. Because this Blade Flourish, that's one of the things that does a ton of sanity loss if you just stand in it, which you could just kind of ignore in the past. But I will go ahead and, you know, was tired of waiting on her casting that multiple times, so I moved up to the next pack. Should have done that to begin with. And moving on, these next couple of groups, there's a chain on one. couple of stuns. All this trash here is kind of annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. If you're feeling really ambitious, you could grab all of this and drag it with the big faceless guy up ahead here, but there's that chain I was talking about. But all this stuff on the ground can really start to chunk you down pretty good here. As you can see, the health dip low. I was running second wind for all this, by the way. But we're going to go ahead and pull him as well. And you won't really need to use orbs while you're clearing all this, especially at like later on, you know, gear levels and the talent tree thing. Didn't mean to pull these guys, but, you know, whatever. Fun fact, you can blade storm through the little ring that spawns around you if you don't, you know, feel like waiting on it to get the hell out of the way. But moving on to these things. One of these guys stuns. Can't remember which one it is, though. But we're just gonna, you know, clear out all this. Here I am rambling after I said I was gonna not do this. Sha, the bane of everybody's existence when this first came out. This fight is super simple once you figure it out. He spawns all these little eyeballs, right? If it wasn't obvious at this point, just don't look at him, like at all. So these eyes of chaos here. And then, unfortunately, I went ahead and used my purification protocol right when he despawns. That was unlucky. I should have waited for him to do it the first time. But other than that, yeah, you just don't face your character at these eyes and just rotate him around this room here. That thing from beyond there spawned because of one of the masks, because I've got less than 50% corruption. I'm just going to drag him, blade storming him with my back turned to him, just to, you know, keep doing damage to him while I can here. But once you realize you don't look at these things, this fight's pretty trivial. You can just take your time with it. There's no rush. He'll spawn more, of course, but if you just keep walking away, it's not the end of the world. And I'm going to take the portal back to Cathedral here to get to the trade district. And this is because you could look at this at the very beginning of the dungeon, but I didn't bother. This door isn't always open, but if it is open, there's that ad that spawns in there, and if you kill it, it gives you a damage buff, if I recall correctly. And there's a couple of special mobs like that in Stormwind you can kill for buffs that just make the rest of the run a little bit smoother. And I'm trying to LOS it around the corner here so it gets drugged down, you know, closer here. Took it a while to get here, but there you have it. Some nice hot tea at the moment to sip on for this. Let's see, trade districts. We can grab pretty much everything. I've actually pulled the entire thing before, to the left side, all this trash in both of these three like sections, but it gets a little bit hectic if you do that, especially if you get dazed off your mount. It's not really worth the effort. So generally, I'm just going to pull all this stuff and drag it in together, and then grab this elite guy behind me here, and cleave all this down, and we'll move on and kind of compartmentalize the district. This Agonizing Torment, I usually kick the first one, then you usually have to eat one of them unless you're just really nuking them. These Burrowing Appendages are the bane of my existence. These things are easily the most annoying trash mob in Divisions for me. I hate it. Like, you just can't keep up damage on them and they, you know, go away. I try to drag all these guys, this stuff, and in the past I've pulled the Faceless with them, but he does the chain thing that silences you, and if you get caught in a stun or whatever when that happens, it can get kind of ugly, so generally I'll just kill all the trash before I pull him. Especially these damn appendages. Once you get the talent that gives you sanity back every time you kill elites, these get considerably easier. This is what I was talking about. I went ahead and Blade Storm for that. I wasn't actually paying attention, but I believe you're still cleaving him, you know, because you started the channel before the silence, but maybe it actually turns off your damage because of, what do you call it, pacified. But at least dots are still ticking. Let's go going around clicking all the cages. There's probably a more efficient way to run around and get all these, but it doesn't really matter, especially when you know, you've got 3 orbs and nothing really happens to your sanity unless you just eat stuff. Unfortunate timing for this Eye of Corruption to spawn, because I can't unlock this damn gate. But instead of going to the other one, I just stand here and do it anyway. Time for everybody's favorite district coming up, the Mage one. Suppose I should probably make like a timestamp or something for this, if I was feeling smart, because this is the one that probably everybody wants to see. I went ahead and go to the bank here to kill the gold elemental thing. It's not always there, just like the other one, because it gives you a buff. I don't remember what the gold buff does, frankly, but yeah, that one's optional. You can kill it, or you can skip it. And I was skipping all the chests this run just because I wanted to make the video, just to speed things up rather than running around grabbing all the chests. But you will have plenty of time if you wanted to collect as many mementos as possible. Now, this district gets really irritating if it's the week that it's rotated on the Chains of Ice debuff, the one that slows you whenever you move. Luckily, during this, it wasn't that week, but yeah, when that one happens, there's so much crap in here to dodge, it can get pretty irritating. And all these damn burrowing appendages. Now, there was one around the left corner. What did I just say? The left corner there. One of the portal keepers. Probably should have went ahead and killed that guy first rather than going up this side and then coming back for him later. Get pretty low there. That's one of the reasons why I probably want to go mastery build in the future, just for you don't have to deal with that. This guy can be a bit of a pain. I saved my purification protocol for him. You could wait till he summons his adds to use it, but I just wanted to nuke him as fast as possible. And that Rain of Fire can really chunk your sanity, so try to get out of that. Unfortunately, didn't kill him before he did the summons, but you can cleave it down all pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap around the rest of the Mage quarter here to get to the other portal keepers. Benefit of being a warrior, just kind of ignore all these fears. This guy, this elite here, I grab him with these portal keepers. It can get a little dangerous with the cone, and then he summons a bunch of swirls that you see, especially when you get the ring debuff at the same time. But as long as you're just watching out for positioning on these guys, you shouldn't have any trouble, clearing them all off. Sanity does get kind of low there, actually, but get it back up to half. Now, I did make a mistake here. I waited for that to go through and then ran all the way up the tower. And this is where I should have went around that back corner I said at the front to kill the other portal keeper. It didn't even cross my mind that I hadn't killed them all. I was just going through the motions, used to running around the thing that I thought I had killed all 5 portal keepers. So I get up here, and fun fact, the mage portal that goes into the actual portal room just doesn't work if you don't kill them all. So yeah, that's what happens. It took me a second here to figure out why it wasn't going through. Like a dingus, so gotta run all the way back down to get this last portal keeper. I'm gonna go ahead and pop one of the sanity orbs here, just because I was getting low. I didn't want to risk something stunning me and proccing the cheat death unnecessarily. We got 3 of them, there's no reason not to use it. Now we get the dialogue. Opens the portal, etc. The mage up here, this is one of the reasons why I like Purification Protocol. I decided to go ahead and eat this, by the way, just because I don't actually know if it's faster to wait it out or eat the Disorient, but it's something to do. But I like the Purification Protocol for this mage guy, because you can use it when he teleports across the room and, you know, still do damage while you can't actually charge him because of the LOS thing that he's got. I went ahead and pre-potted for this guy too, just because I don't like frost mages. Saving our Bladestorm just to, you know, get across the room. You can actually Bladestorm this polymorph, and I should have kicked it. This is me being bad. So one of the two gets you through that. And right here, when we're jumping back across the room, this is where I'm going to use the Purification Protocol. And down he goes. Back to Cathedral. Now, you can swap out your essence here. It's probably recommended. I think that's what I end up doing here. Just running around looting, waiting for the cooldown on Purification to come up so I can pop a tome and swap out my essence. Because Illyria is really not fun for melee. Going to Condensed Life Force just for the burst and the range damage that it does by itself. Pop our last orb here, and we're going to go ahead and pull. You got to remember that eye in the room to try and not face it at all times, which can be kind of a pain from all the AoE crap that she casts, and she never moves, so... yeah, fun times. Fortunately, ate the poly. LOSing the Void Eruption, keeping our back to the eye as much as possible. Would recommend bringing health potions and Warlock cookies to this as well, if you're having trouble staying alive in some of these fights. Just running away from the chains. The black pools on the ground, that's from the mask. It's not the end of the world if you're just sitting in them. They do a little bit of sanity damage to you, it's like 6 at a time, but it's better than, you know, eating that stun. Kicked Poly. Cleanse the ring. Oh, Illyria. It's times where you just can't really hit her. Right there, I'm just getting in as much damage as I can before that cast goes off. And that's about it. Just wrapping this up during execute phase. There's the 5 mask of Stormwind. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Just wanted to throw out, if you haven't played Doom Eternal yet, go play it, it's fun. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Actually, before I go, let me know what you think about this, like, going in and out thing. I don't know if this was boring or too much downtime. Just trying something new. A little tired at the moment, so that's kind of why I was doing it. But yeah, let me know. See ya.